I'm Dolores Jones, your comeback coach. And guess what? I'm live on YouTube today. I am super, 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 super excited that you decided to spend some of your lunch hour with me. Is that okay? All right. So listen, I want y'all to bear with me as I get comfortable and used to this whole dun, 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 being live and everything right here on YouTube. Thank you for those of you that have already subscribed to Dolores Jones TV. I really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I want you to know that. But today, here's your special message. Your purpose is too big for you to be petty. It's too big for you to be petty. Think about that. You have a purpose. There is a reason why God saw fit to have you here. Purpose. What are you supposed to be doing? What are you made for? Petty. You're making insignificant things significant. Hey, I want you to like and share the video. Could you do that for me? I would greatly appreciate it. Petty. You're getting upset about things that don't matter. Petty. You're stubborn. You're childish. Your purpose is so big. It's so grand. You don't have time to be petty. I used to be really, really petty. I used to really care what people thought about me. My self-esteem was like that. Why? Well, there are multiple reasons why. I was insecure. I lost my mom. I was 5 years old. She was 21 years old. She died. I was ready for kindergarten, and my mother did not come home. Now, it wasn't that she didn't want to come home. It was, she died. She overdosed on heroin. 21. She had 3 kids at home. I was the eldest, her only daughter, had 2 younger brothers, Marlon and Brandon. I'm 5. Marlon was about 4. Brandon was 1 year old. The last time we saw our mother, she was in a white box, a casket. Her arms were crossed like this. She had a holy Bible sitting there. There was beautiful lace all the way to her neck, and she had on pearl earrings. She looked like she was sleeping. And I lost a piece of my soul that day. I was 5 years old. Now, there were other people around us that loved us, but it was nothing like the love of my mother. I remember her being so regal and so tall and so pretty. She had so much hair. She was gorgeous. And she loved me. In fact, there was a point when she died that I did not want to accept that she was gone. I couldn't believe it. So I would go to stores, grocery stores, and I would say to myself, I was like, Dee Dee, your mom is really not dead. She is just tired. She's just tired. So she had to take a break. And there were times I would stand in the aisle, and if there was a woman who looked remotely like my mother, I would say to myself, this is the day, this is it, that's your mama. Your mama's coming, she's coming, she's coming. Okay, and then the woman would walk past me. And I kept hope alive, thinking that really she wasn't dead. I was in what they call denial. I was 5. And in my teens, I was still in denial. And I think probably by the time I was like 10 or 11, I realized she wasn't coming back. And I felt alone. I felt so alone. I remember I was married, because life keeps going on, right? I got married. And one day, I think how old was I at that point? I think it was about 28 years old. And the marriage wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And I got on the couch, the sofa, and I balled up in a fetal position, and I began to cry. I began to say, Mama, where are you? I wish you were here. If you could just tell me that everything was going to be okay. I just need to hear you tell me it's going to be okay. If you tell me it's going to be okay, I'll believe you. Because I just felt like it wasn't going to be okay, but God still had a purpose for me. And eventually I became a mother at 28 and college graduate, made it through homelessness, bathed in the basement of a community college with a vision. I had a vision. My vision was I want to be like Oprah. And my mentor said, well, what did Oprah do? I said, she was a journalist. They said, what do you need to do? I said, I need to go to a journalism school. So I applied for and was accepted to Columbia School of Journalism. Now, I later learned that they only had a 5% acceptance rate. But sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. What does that mean? That means you're focused on this one thing. But there's this beautiful forest with so many opportunities, but you're focused on that one thing, like that divorce, like the loss of that job, like that foreclosure. I thank God for second chances. My purpose, people would say, you're going to be a great speaker one day. I was like, huh? Because I couldn't see it, because I was still in my mess. Sometimes what God has for you, your purpose is so grand, but you can't see it because you're in the wrong environment. You're surrounded by the wrong people. But it doesn't mean it's still not your purpose. Your purpose is too big to be so petty. People used to say things like, you got bigger fish to fry. Why am I standing here arguing with you? What difference is this going to make 5 years from now? Listen, let me tell y'all how I almost missed my opportunity to stand center stage with Oprah Winfrey. Now, it took me 18 years to meet Oprah, but I was this girl from Kansas, 5 years old, lost my mom, homeless at 17. We got drugs in the home. I can't take a bath. Kids are teasing me at school. I wanted to walk in front of a moving bus and die. I was like, God, I got the plan. You let me die, and I'm going to be in heaven with my mother. But God had said, not so. And he had somebody interrupt me. I didn't look right. Like right now, I'm interrupting you. This video, you weren't even expecting it, but it's here. So I want you to listen. And then I went to a party. I was like, I'm going to go to a party with everybody else, and I'm going to dance my sorrows away. I didn't fit. But there was a chaperone at this party. And I have been praying and asking God to help me. I'm dealing with my mom being gone. I'm dealing with being homeless. I'm dealing with kids teasing me. I'm being bullied. I'm sad. I was living with my boyfriend on a mattress in the basement at 17 years old. What was I doing? I was trying to survive. Some people would have called it trifling, but I was trying to survive. I needed water and lights. And that is what was available until we start fighting. Then I missed my high school final of trigonometry. See, you can be struggling and not be stupid. Now, you do know that, right? All right. But I'm at this party and I'm trying to just deal with it. And this lady comes up to me, and I'll never forget her. Her name is Denise. And she says, hey, sweetheart. And I'm like, yes. She said, you asked God about some things, and I want you to know he said he's going to answer your prayer. God, I'm like, out of all these students, she came up to me. You mean to tell me I'm that important to God that he would take a chaperone who could have been doing anything else, but Lord, she came to me to deliver a message of hope like I'm delivering this message of hope to you? Don't have to end like that. See, for me, it didn't have to end like that. It was funny because when my friends graduated from high school, I graduated. They walked across the stage with their cap and gowns, and I did the same thing. Now, they went home. I didn't know where I was going. See, when I went on a date, I didn't eat for the day. I was trying to get enough food for the week. I remember a guy said, where do you want to go eat? Now, y'all might laugh at this, but back then, I was serious. I said, I want to go to Church's Chicken because they got 12 pieces of chicken for $4.99. I think about that now. That was many years ago, but I wanted that Church's Chicken. It was going to last me for a whole week. See, when you're in the midst of the struggle and it's real, you ain't got time to be cute. You just do what you got to do. Your purpose is too big for you to be petty. And I got a postcard in the mail, and I went to a junior college called Donnelly College in Kansas City, Kansas. I'm a Kansas girl from the Midwest. And I was bathing in the basement bathroom. I would catch the bus 2 hours before my teachers got there. I would go into the basement with a bar of soap, a towel, toothbrush, toothpaste, a song in my heart, and some deodorant. And I would quote scriptures and I would sing songs that my grandmother and great grandmother taught me. And I would stay at school until the school closed. Like when they're like, the library is closing, because there was no excuse. I never missed an assignment. And during the first semester, I had a 4.0 GPA. That's as high as you could go. I earned a presidential scholarship, and I maintained a 4.0 GPA for 2 years at that junior college. And my teachers had no idea that I was struggling until I gave the commencement speech. See, the struggle is real, but survival is possible. I had to learn to build my own relationship with God and to lean on my faith. And one of the things they told me, faith without works is dead. I had a mission. I want to be like Oprah. So I took my butt to class. I completed 22 credit hours in one semester to graduate. I had an internship at a TV station and a radio station. In fact, where I interned, Miss Olivia Dorsey said, you're going to participate in the National Association of Black Journalists conference that's coming to Kansas City. I'm like, I am? She's like, yes. She saw my potential. Forget the problems, she saw my potential. But what she didn't know, I didn't know how I was going to get there. So Neil Tucker, one of the engineers, he said, Dolores, I have a big room in my house and the hotel is walking distance at the Hyatt. I said, okay. So I go, I show up. I saw all of these beautiful African-American people from BET, from all over the world. And I went home that day and I cried. I was out of my element. I was like, oh my God. I was like, God, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. And I mean, I wept. But I woke up the next morning and I got my happy hips up and I went straight on back. I wasn't at the top then, but I was on my way. I belonged there. I belong there. Okay? I absolutely belong there. And there was nothing no one could do to stop me. It was my thing. It was my thing. Right? No one can stop you but you. It may be intimidating, may be scary, but at the end of the day, the choice is yours. Fast forward, I've been married, I've been divorced. I'm 50 years young. I have a son that'll be 23 on May 31st. Been a homeowner. I've been evicted several times. I've had cars repossessed. But at the end of the day, my purpose is too big for me to be petty. I finally just gave the car back, took $1,500 and bought a car cash. I have a 2003 Volkswagen Beetle convertible, and I'm doing just fine. I had to rebuild my relationship with money. Some of us are so hard on ourselves, but who was there to teach you? You know what I mean? But now you have the power to teach yourself. So the day came after a book was written called Come On People on the Path from Victim to Victor. You can get it at your bookstore. And there's a chapter in the book called From Poverty to Prosperity. And just the beginning of the book, they're talking about this girl named Dolores Jones from Kansas. And then I got a call of a lifetime. I was invited to the Oprah Winfrey Show. But the crazy part was I was also estranged. I was living in my own house preparing to divorce my husband. And they said, your husband and you were going to, because they didn't know all my business. And I wasn't going to get on the plane to go with him. I was like, I'm not flying to Chicago with him. And I called my girlfriend Jatina, because sometimes we become temporarily insane. And she said, Dee Dee, if you don't get your tail on that plane and go to Chicago to the Oprah Winfrey Show, I'm going to kick you in the butt. And I piped down, because see, my purpose was too big for me to be petty. And I got on that plane and I met Oprah and she invited me center stage and she had her people, take my picture, and it was surreal. I had my vision board. I was able to show her my vision board. It was amazing. But I was still distracted. Because see, when I went home, I had a fight with my husband at the time. Yep, this was a serious fight. I ended up in the hospital getting stitches. And he had just told me that he loved me. And I was a college professor. But I was still tripping. When I laid on that hospital bed, one of my girlfriends from grad school experience, she said, Dolores. I said, yes. She said, do you love yourself? I said, yeah. She said, no, you don't. Anybody that loves themselves is not going to let a man put his fist in their mouth. And I hate to tell y'all, I almost went back and stayed. And then I met someone who saw my value. And because of that relationship, I said to them, I give you my word, I will not go back. Your purpose is so much bigger than the mess that you are in. I pray that you take this message and that you have a real heart-to-heart talk with yourself. That you say to yourself, I'm going to stop majoring in minors. I'm going to mind my own business. I'm going to build healthy relationships. I'm going to cut off everything that's killing me. I'm going to let my kids grow up. I'm going to stop rescuing grown people. And I'm going to put myself in a position to learn more. See, there's a book out there called Understanding the Framework of Poverty. Sometimes when we've lived a life of poverty, we think small. But God doesn't see anything small about us. What is spoken about you is true. You were meant to dominate, to be great. You're going to have some bumps in the road and some detours, but a denial is not the same thing as a delay. You may be delayed, but you cannot be denied unless you decide to. I'm at a different place in my life. I'm happy. I'm learning to be more and more fulfilled and comfortable as a single African American queen because I have things to do. I'm more than a relationship with a man. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. It would be nice to have a king to go home to, but in the meantime, I got to walk around my own castle, and I got to heal where I'm broken. I have to learn to love like I've never been hurt. Thank you for taking a few moments out of your time, of your day, to be with me, Dolores Jones, your comeback coach. Please subscribe to my channel. Share and like the video. I promise y'all I'm going to come back again and again, but I need you to join me. Have yourself an amazing life, not just a day, but an amazing life. And remember, your purpose is too big for you to be petty. It's time for you to come on over to the major leagues. And I look forward to seeing you there. And I'm in the stand and I'm cheering for you. And I can't wait to meet you one day in person. Take care, everybody. Mwah.